Hey everybody, I just got this package in the mail. I believe it's for receiving 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. Let's go ahead and take a look. I'm going to open this up and let you guys see it. Look at that. Congratulations, Red Pill 78, for passing 100,000 subscribers from YouTube. I even got a letter from Susan Wojcicki, the CEO of YouTube. Sorry, Susan, for anything I've said about you in the past, at least until the end of this video. Excellent stuff, you guys. This is really cool, and really I'm making this video to thank you guys, because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't be receiving this award, and I wouldn't be able to make videos. I really appreciate you guys. I am so humbled by the love and respect that I get from you guys, and how much you guys love my videos. I have such a good time doing this, and this is probably a dream for me. This could very well be a dream. I might wake up tomorrow, but until that time, I just want to keep telling you guys how much I appreciate having the ability, to make these videos for you guys and bring this content to you every day. I want to thank God. I want to thank President Trump. And I just want to say, everybody, keep making America great. It's for the children, it's for our future, and it's for America. Have you guys heard that countries are now banning VPNs? Apparently Russia is the latest country to demand that VPNs restrict users' access to the internet. There's already a bunch of other countries that have banned VPNs, like Belarus, China, Egypt, North Korea, Turkey, and even more. What reason would they have for doing this? Well, it's simple. VPNs are not only powerful tools, but they're also extremely useful for well-informed citizens. With the list of countries working to ban them growing, could the US be next? Are VPNs on the chopping block for citizens in our great nation? Well, my right to privacy is something I take very seriously, and I personally use Virtual Shield VPN. I found it to be the easiest and fastest VPN around. With their no-log policy, it protects the user's anonymity from any potential data breaches. Now this month, Virtual Shield is offering an Easter special, 40% off all VPN plans and all premium add-on plans, including Protection Plus, residential access, monthly maintenance, phone support, and VIP performance plans as low as $3 per month. So you can sign up for a free 30-day trial for Virtual Shield VPN and see what the hype is about. You've got nothing to lose. Now, don't forget that Virtual Shield is one of the easiest VPNs to use in the world. It's also one of the fastest. They have their no-log policy, and that protects its users from any data breaches. So go ahead and head on over to virtualshield.com/redpill78, and you can get 40% off with a free month. Good evening, everyone. You're listening to Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this is your Red Pill News for Monday, April 8th. Well, Patriots, it's been confirmed. Kirstjen Nielsen did not resign. She was forced out by President Trump. And as I reported yesterday from the Gateway Pundit, President Trump announced on Sunday night that Nielsen would be leaving her position as Director of Homeland Security. Now, Trump did not say she was resigning, only that she was leaving her position. And at the time the Gateway Pundit published this, they said that it was not clear exactly why, but Crap News Network definitely said that she was forced out. Now, from the Daily Caller, here is why they are speculating Trump and Nielsen parted ways. Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen announced her resignation Sunday evening after months of President Trump's dissatisfaction with her handling of the crisis at the U.S. southern border. Trump all but fired Nielsen after a heated exchange at the White House over whether she was expending all possible resources in dealing with the flow of thousands of migrants across the U.S.-Mexico border. Now, two sources told this to the Daily Caller. Nielsen presented a variety of policy options to Trump, but he ultimately felt that none of them rose to the appropriate response level and asked for her to submit her resignation. Trump has been agitating for options within the DHS for months that will address the large influx of Central American family units requesting asylum. The president has routinely felt that Nielsen was not presenting or executing his orders appropriately and wants to take drastic action to address the crisis, as he should. There he is, doesn't look too happy looking at the back of her head. The situation has become particularly fraught in recent days, with U.S. Customs and Border Protection reporting thousands of migrants apprehended at the border per day. Officials explain that the crisis is exacerbated because U.S. law requires authorities to catch and release illegal immigrants claiming asylum who will remain in the country at large, at least until they appear before a judge. Now, Nielsen's defenders say the secretary understood the root of Trump's frustration, but that ultimately she was constrained by the rule of law and that many of the president's demands were simply illegal. Officials note that few, if any, asylum seekers actually come to their final immigration hearings in which their claims are rejected, calling it backdoor illegal immigration. Nielsen left the White House Sunday evening to issue her resignation before Trump tweeted out her departure, saying, Secretary of Homeland Security Kristen Nielsen will be leaving her position, and I would like to thank her for her service. I am pleased to announce that Kevin McAleenan, the current U.S. Customs and Border Protection Commissioner, will become acting Secretary of DHS, and I have confidence that Kevin will do a great job. Nielsen wrote in her resignation letter that despite our progress in reforming Homeland Security for a new age, I have determined that it is the right time for me to step aside. I hope that the next secretary will have the support of Congress and the courts in fixing the laws which have impeded our ability to fully secure America's borders and which have contributed to discord in our nation's discourse, she continued. So, if Nielsen's right, then the onus of the issue here lies not with Trump or even with Nielsen herself, but with Congress and with the disgusting laws that we have in America that are allowing these illegals to come and then stay. Just as they said, backdoor illegal immigration. They come here pretending that they're seeking asylum and then they just never leave. So, we've got a big job ahead of us. We really need to talk to our lawmakers and ask them to fix these laws, to close these loopholes, because until that happens, we may have another situation happening with the acting secretary. Now, we also have the opportunity here for this acting secretary to perhaps change some things. Perhaps they can write some new administrative rules, which will show that they'll enforce these laws in a different way. You know, the administrative branch of government, the unelected branch of our government, they make these rules all the time. And they're not laws, but they're enforced as if they are laws. So it's not just Congress. We could really be seeing some movement happening in a variety of different ways. So now that it's been confirmed, Kevin McAleenan, he is now the acting Homeland Security Chief. Trump has officially named Kevin McAleenan as the Homeland Security Chief. He's taken him out of the Customs and Border Patrol. And he's the guy who reinstated Hussein's catch and release program in 2018. Gateway Pundit says this is not good. President Trump has named Kevin McAleenan to replace Kirstjen Nielsen as Secretary of Homeland Security. And McAleenan is the actual author of Hussein's catch and release program at the U.S. border. Former Arizona Sheriff Paul Babbo weighed in on McAleenan. Trump's base on immigration already skeptical of McAleenan as DHS Secretary. That took no time. Right here, Deep State, Kevin McAleenan to replace Nielsen at DHS. McAleenan is known as the architect of catch and release. This is almost unbelievable. Now, here is some more information. CBP Commissioner Kevin McAleenan reinstated catch and release, but President Trump ordered an end to catch and release. What gives? What gives? And the Federation of American Immigration Reform strongly opposes the nomination. It is crucial that real Donald Trump nominates a strong, respected outsider for Secretary of Homeland Security. We've seen what happens when he trusts immigration neophytes or Hussein administration holdovers to implement his agenda. FAIR also warned that immigration levels may reach 500,000 in the next 3 months. This is not immigration. This is an invasion, 100% supported by the D Party. Look at this. This is horrible. Does anyone really trust a former Hussein official to fix the immigration crisis in America? Well, I've got a couple of ideas on this. With Nielsen leaving, and Trump moving McElhenny into the DHS spot, that leaves the CBP spot open. So that means that someone else, perhaps someone more aligned with Trump's vision for immigration and closing these loopholes, could now take over. And because McElhenny is only acting, he could either be, unhinged, he could be unchained to do whatever it is that Trump needs him to do, or perhaps it's just a ruse to have a revolving door and get someone in there who actually will fulfill the MAGA promise. We'll see, but, this is not, Nielsen was not the only firing that happened. Looks like President Trump has also ordered the firing of the Secret Service Director, Randolph Ailes. This is pretty big news. President Trump directed Mick Mulvaney to fire Secret Service Director Randolph Tex Ailes just one day after DHS Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen was forced out, according to reports by NBC and Crap News Network. President Donald Trump instructed his acting chief of staff, Mick Mulvaney, to fire Ailes. Ailes remains in his position as of now, but he has been asked to leave. The Secret Service Director reports directly to the Secretary of Homeland Security, Kirstjen Nielsen, who resigned on Sunday amid growing pressure by the president. The director oversees the Secret Service's work on both protection and investigations. There is a near systematic purge happening at the nation's second largest national security agency, one senior administration official says. United States Citizenship and Immigration Services Director Francis Cisna and Office of the General Counsel's John Mitnick are expected to be gone soon, and the White House is eyeing others to be removed. President Trump removed DHS Chief Kirstjen Nielsen from her post Sunday evening, and according to admin sources, this is just the beginning of a purge at the immigration agency. According to Crap News Network, Secret Service agents found out about Randolph Ailes' firing from its report. However, the U.S. SS director was told 2 weeks ago there would be a reshuffling in leadership, and he was asked to stay at his post until there was a replacement. NBC reported that Trump firing of Ailes was not based on any single precipitating event. This is a breaking story. Now, I wonder if it has anything to do with the numerous attempts on our president's life that have happened. Although they've been thwarted, these people were still able to get very close to putting our president in harm's way, and even worse, not just harming him, but actually taking his life. This is a serious business, and we need someone at the U.S. Secret Service who is going to really run a tight ship. We cannot afford to lose President Trump. President Trump is America's last great hope for a renewal. We are making America great again. We need to keep America great, but we need to ensure that this continues into the future. Finally, last bit of news, Cory Booker hauled in only $5 million in 3 months. Well, Beto and Bernie collected that in a day. What a loser. With approximately 187 candidates, wow, the Democrats are sure gunning for President Trump. Running for the Democratic presidential nomination in 2020, the first key to who survives is cash. On that score, Senator Cory Spartacus Booker is already far behind. Booker, who has been begging for money since he entered the race on February 1st, pulled in just $5 million in the first quarter. His haul is the lowest of any candidate who has announced their fundraising results, although only a handful of the 15 announced candidates have revealed their first quarter numbers. For comparison, Senator Bernie Sanders, the socialist from Vermont, collected $18.2 million. Senator Kamala Harris of California pulled in $12 million. Former Representative Beto O'Rourke of Texas raised $9.4 million, and upstart candidate Mayor Pete Buttigieg of South Bend, Indiana, grabbed $7.1 million in the first quarter. In fact, in the first 24 hours after they announced their entrance into the race, O'Rourke collected $6.1 million and Sanders pulled in $5.9 million. Booker presented an upbeat face to his supporters. When we launched this campaign, we knew we had work to do. I haven't run for office since 2014, while others have spent the last 6 years and millions of dollars building a network of supporters, Booker said in a campaign email. That's why your help these past 2 months has been so crucial and why I'm so grateful to you. You're the reason why we're in this fight, and your support has allowed us to show the country that we'll be in this for the long haul. Booker is one of the most divisive candidates in the field. On Monday, he introduced a bill that would create a commission to study the possibility of paying billions of dollars in reparations to the descendants of slaves. The New Jersey senator said that this bill is a way of addressing head on the persistence of racism, white supremacy, and implicit racial bias in our country. It will bring together the best minds to study the issue and propose solutions that will finally begin to right the economic scales of past harms and make sure that we are a country where all dignity and humanity is affirmed. Democrats running for the White House have been busy offering free services and even free money for everyone. Sanders and several others support nationalizing the U.S. healthcare system, and the Vermont Independent also advocates free college for all, another plum supported by his other candidates. Booker wants to establish opportunity accounts to give lower-income children up to $50,000 to use for a down payment on a house or college tuition. Meanwhile, Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, who is running in 2020, backs a guaranteed jobs program run by, you guessed it, the federal government. And Harris last October announced a plan by which families making less than $100,000 a year would receive up to $500 a month or $6,000 a year. And individuals making less than $50,000 a year would get $250 a month. Estimated cost, $500 billion a year. Now, what they'll never talk about is how are we going to pay for this stuff, especially when the money is all coming from a private institution printing it for us and loaning it to us at interest. Where is the money going to come from? And then where is the money going to come from to pay back all that money? And what's going to happen when our money becomes completely useless because they've printed so much of it, it's no good to do anything but wipe your behind with? This and more coming from Democrats in 2020. Now, next, we have a segment that I recorded with our good friend Luke Slytalker last night for presentation today. Luke has been doing some really interesting things with the drops and trying to decode them in new ways that a lot of people aren't looking at. So I wanted to talk to Luke about that. I'm going to bring him in, and you'll hear that next. All right, good evening, everyone. You're listening to Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and on the phone with me right now is my good friend, Luke Slytalker, the musician, the decoder, the all-around talented guy. Luke, you're a bit of a renaissance man when it comes to this stuff, aren't you?
I appreciate that, man. I'm literally trying to be the modern-day MacGyver looking for my Phoenix Foundation.
Oh, dude, that's a heck of a reference there, man. I love it. Well, so specifically, Luke, tonight, I wanted to talk about the things that you've discovered regarding steganography and some of the pictures that have been dropped by our favorite Anon. So I've got your thread in front of me where you're referencing a military doc and then a patent from IBM. Why don't you start by explaining to the audience what steganography is, like for the layman?
Yeah. So here's your 30,000 foot view. Steganography is basically the idea of hiding something in plain sight. So when we talk about it, we most often mean hiding data within an image or hiding something within another form of media. You can put audio files in an image, you can put a zip file in there, an executable file, a whole bunch of different stuff, but you're hiding it in plain sight. It looks like it's just a picture, but it really contains extra data.
All right, so you know what that reminds me of is Cicada 3301. That was a huge part of the Cicada riddle that they were putting out there a couple years. I don't even know if they're doing it anymore, but that was, I mean, as soon as I saw that, I always thought that it was some type of a recruiting tool. If not for like an official intelligence organization, then maybe like a clandestine one.
Like a little offshoot one or something.
Like somebody, like a Phoenix Foundation.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Look, man, consider this part of my CV and my resume. Like, excellent. I'm trying to have all those attributes so you guys can go, okay, this is the guy. We got to put him on our team.
Yeah. If anybody's listening, Luke Slytalker and the Force. Yeah. All right. So tell us about this military document from 2004. I'm going to pull that up on screen.
So this was a document on electronic warfare, and this was something that talked about how the government was saying, like, look, we're worried about steganography because terrorist organizations are apparently using this to transmit data back and forth that we're missing. So we might be listening in on their phone calls, reading their emails, but they send an image and all we see is an image. We don't realize that inside of that image is stored coordinates for their next attack, or the number to a burner cell phone where they're going to communicate and plan their next operation. Right. Again, it just looks like a picture, right? So that document talked about those problems, and then it also talked about their countermeasures that they want to employ, where they said, we basically need to start employing people who are good at steganography. We need to find people who are smart analysts who can learn this stuff and become very proficient in it. So that kind of leads in, I think, to part of, like you were saying, even like the cicada puzzles. But again, I think that's maybe something else. That's in like 3-4 shows on its own.
Oh, yeah, totally.
But like how Q always says, you have more than you know, or we have it all, you have it all, those kind of things. I think really heavily were nods and little jokes almost to, dude, there's stuff hidden in all these image files. Like, you guys don't realize it, but once you do, you're going to realize how much you actually have.
All right. So, well, before we get to that part, tell us about the IBM patent from 2005 as well.
So again, this military document, this is back in 2004 is when this document was actually put out, but they were researching this stuff into in the 90s and the early 2000s. And in 2001 they were even worried about Al-Qaeda using steganography, again, one of the terrorist organizations I was kind of mentioning, to plan their operations. So in 2005, lo and behold, Mein Führer had sent me this. Shout out to him.
Yeah, good guy.
And so I appreciate. Yeah, I've always credit where it's due. Had sent me this patent on using machine learning and artificial intelligence to recognize that there's steganography in images. That's crazy. So like, it's really smart, obviously. But when we just look at a picture and I have to go, man, should I save this and run it through all these tests and risk that it's worth my time, or it's the file's not embedded with a piece of malware even. You just have a computer do it all for you, just sitting there ready to run through everything. Yeah, exactly. So like, this is something that the NSA could almost consider like a module or a plug-in to their data collection program, where they're already sucking up all this data. They just plug in this AI algorithm in there that says, oh, that's a picture coming across the wire. Let's analyze it real quick. Oh, this one looks like there's stuff in there. Let's pull it aside and check it out. Yeah, and have an actual analyst go through it with a finer tooth comb. You know what I find very interesting is that they call the AI a convolutional neural network, CNN. So, and you know what what else that brings to mind is, a couple of years ago there was a woman who was taking a selfie of herself in front of her television, and the selfie, the shutter on her cell phone caught just a single frame of I believe it was CNN. It was a news program, and it was like in They Live, it was just in large, bold block letters, and it just said "kill." Do you remember that? Yes, I know what you're talking about. So, you know how there was always the fear as we were growing up, because you're about the same age I am, I think, where of subliminal messages in movies or in songs. And there was always that, there's subliminal messages in there. Like, no, man, there really was subliminal messages and stuff. That was a CIA program. Yeah. The whole time. That's so crazy because the refresh rate of a television, it used to be so predictable when we had these old CRT TVs and stuff. And now that we're getting plasmas and LCDs and these 4Ks and all these other things, it's a lot tougher now to figure out what can we hide in plain sight. What can we can't hide it in a 60 hertz refresh rate anymore, because people are going to see it now. Like, that's why her camera was able to capture it at that one, split second, that perfect timing. That's incredible. It's incredible. Yeah. All right. So, so now that we've got a little bit of a primer on steganography and how it may be used, let's talk about what you've discovered in the images from our favorite Anon on the boards. Yeah. So, and like you had mentioned about cicada, I was very interested in the puzzles. I was always kind of a lurker and a watcher, never like a leader and a solver of those things. But, I always was very interested. And from the jump, when Q is posting images, I'm thinking, wow, like, dude, I bet there's data inside these. Like, there's got to be something in these. That would be part of the game. That just makes it even that much more interesting. Mm-hmm. And I never had the time or the setup or the planning to put it all together to be able to actually scrape all the images and run the stuff. Well, I had some free time, more than I expected. So I sat down the other night and I ran a couple images that had caught my eye, because I was going to find all the skull pics, the Punisher Paine pics, because I have a theory about those. And I had found a different image instead, and it struck me as very weird, and the post was very interesting. So I went, man, I'm going to run this one first. And I ran it, and it came back with 324 bytes of data inside of hidden data. Now, 324 bytes is not a lot of data necessarily, but it's a text file. It's, a number of characters, basically. It could be a few sentences even.
Yep.
But and again, that could have been a bunch of things, because then the next step is you have to extract it. But when I went to extract it, it comes out as like gobbledygook, a bunch of weirdness. You can't necessarily read it.
Right. So, I mean, and something like that, it could be encrypted, and you can only read it if you have that decryption code on the other end.
Yes. Yeah. So you have to, because I mean, if these guys are as smart as we all believe they are, they're not just going to make it easy for some average Joe like me to just go, well, let me run this open source software anybody can use.
Right.
And lo and behold, I find, the answer to your whole plan or all of your comms. Like, no, there's going to be another layer above and beyond just it being embedded in the photos. But
sure.
This is the next step that we need, because it lends more credibility, obviously, that there is something real happening here.
And so in this video that you've got on the thread, you're using an application called Pixelnot. Is that like a steganography program on your phone?
Yeah. So back in June, I believe it was June of last year, June of 2018, the whole thing that really brought up the steganography stuff to the forefront of the kind of the Q movement at the time was there was that Sarah Silverman picture posted on 4chan.
Yeah.
And there was some back and forth between our favorite Anon and whoever the original poster of this picture was. And this picture was this whole back and forth, this interaction to me was also one of those things that caught my attention so much, because if you look at Q's device ID, so your device ID is set based on the device that you're using. Number one, it's not something you pick. It's something that is generated for you. And Q's device ID, when he had basically posted, I think it was either a verse from the Bible or it was essentially, saying that, Satan, you have no place here. Q was able to have his device ID basically be 666 inside of it. 3 6s in a row. It was actually 6 and A, B, C, D, E, F.
Okay.
6 So 666. To me, that was like one of those nods to, like, I see you, I know what you're doing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, here's one of these little, it's a coincidence. On its own, it means nothing. But again, I don't think you can just go in and set your device ID. And I've never seen him use that device ID again. That's another reason why I've been so adamant about I want to aggregate all the trip codes. I want to aggregate all the device IDs and have a big list that I can run against the images, and that I can also use. We can search the Google books. We can search the WikiLeaks documents. We can use those things to look for so many more things if we just have them all in one consolidated list.
Very cool. Very, very cool. Well, listen, Luke, I love how you are constantly combing through this stuff and looking at different ways to see it. I mean, I think people tend to get hung up on, just on the timestamps or something like that, but it's so much more.
Yes, yeah, I mean, in the timestamps, and so that was another thing that drew me to this specific image. The timestamp from the person, the anon who posted the image originally, was like 004800, and Q's reply was 005900. It was like pure 11 minutes on the nose difference.
Wow.
And I'd sent you a message a little bit earlier, a whole bunch of crap, basically, like, here's all the stuff that supports what I'm saying. And then like in 20 minutes, like, you're going to be able to, go through it all. But one of the things was there was a Russian secret spy group called the Steganographers. And they got a lot of notoriety because Anna Chapman was part of this group. And she's super hot. She was like, she's super hot, basically. She was like essentially what the movie Sparrow or Red Sparrow or whatever.
Oh, okay.
I think was made more or less about her.
All right.
She was this beautiful Russian agent who infiltrated, politics and American government and held all this influence. But this group of 11 people heavily used steganography to do their communications. So all these things were like just all these nods in this direction of, dude, you need to look at this file. Like, there's something about this file. But dude, going further though. So this is one thing I want to get out. The whole thing that when I was on your show the other week and we talked about the Rachel Chandler stuff.
Yep.
The whole reason I wanted to do that was I wanted to get all of those images scraped because I wanted to run the same applications, the same scripts for steg analysis that I'm doing on the Q images. I had no luck 6 months ago when I was trying to get people to help me out on this. And so I had moved on, and then the Rachel Chandler thing came up, and I thought, cool, this is an option that we can do the same thing. And it worked. I had a bunch of people jump on and help me, and a lot of that's thanks to you, obviously, helping me get the word out. So again,
awesome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Because now I have like a Discord full of people who are smarter than I am, better researchers than I am, and they're constantly dropping info in there. And one of the things that we had done, obviously, was we got all these Rachel Chandler images of these models, and they're not models. They look like human trafficking victims.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that there is, and because if you look at the Instagram posts, there's these weird comments. Every few comments is a really weird comment, and it'll say something like, I DM'd you. Well, why would you DM them for this? This is weird. Right. I think the images contained hidden data that were things like the price of that person. Like, what's it going to cost if you want to buy that victim? What are the rules? What are you allowed to do with that person if you're renting them? Are you allowed to beat them up a little bit? Can you even kill them? What can you do? What's off limits, basically? The meeting location, all the data would be stored inside the picture. So when they were ready for the DM, even the DM name, the secret Twitter handle, is stored inside the picture. So when the person says, I DM'd you, they don't mean that they DM'd them to the account that they're commenting on. They mean they DM'd them to the secret account from the photo. Oh,
wow. That's a mind blower, dude.
Dude, the steganography goes so deep. Back in the early mid 2000s, there was a meme going around, and it was called "Mods Asleep."
Yes.
Post sync,
yeah.
And we had talked about this, and I had another person even bring this up to me in my Discord, and I remember long ago, because dude, I was back on 4chan and on the B board, like this is the old school days of like the Wild West, and I remember always hearing about how CP was rampant across the chans. And I thought, no, it's not. Like, I don't really ever see it. I mean, maybe you see a weird image here or there, but I don't remember it being so prevalent like the reputation was. And it turns out it's because they were actually hiding these images inside of memes. So that Mods Asleep Post Sync meme often had CP steganography, hidden inside of that image, and that's how people were passing things back and forth.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's another example of Q Team using the weapons of the deep state against them.
Exactly. It's Red October.
Yes. Oh Lord. Wow, Luke. Okay, well, listen, man, this is amazing. We're almost at 18 minutes, so I'm going to say thank you very much, and I want you
Yes,
to tell
indeed.
everyone again how to find you, and if you want to give out your Discord, you can send me a link to that, and I can put it in the description of the video if you like.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Easiest way to get a hold of me right now, find me on Twitter. On Twitter, then you can find my YouTube and all the other stuff from there. My Twitter name is @Luke_Slytalker.
Yeah.
Luke Slytalker, underscore before and in the middle. Find me on there. Send me a message. I will help you guys with tools. I will help you guys get set up. I will give you some directions so you can join in on this. And if you look at my YouTube channel, I'll be posting videos tonight about the tools that I've used and how you can find them, install them, and use them yourself. Everything is open source. Everything is free.
Awesome. Well, Luke, thanks again for joining us, buddy. I really appreciate it, and I'm so glad that we met because there's always something interesting. I love the way your mind works.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. We will talk soon.
Okay, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, bye.
All right, and I guess I was wrong. We have one final story for you today. Former Smallville actress has pled guilty to criminal activity after being part of the alleged cult NXIVM. Former Smallville actress Allison Mack pleaded guilty on some charges in the cult case, according to reports on Monday. Mack, 36, arrived at a Brooklyn courthouse Monday morning to change her plea on charges of racketeering, extortion, and forced labor, reported Page 6. The charges stem from her alleged role in a reported SEX SLAVE ring within Albany, New York-based NXIVM. I must take full responsibility for my conduct. I am very sorry for my role in this case. I am very sorry for my family and to the good people I hurt through my misguided adherence to Keith Raniere's teachings, Mack said, according to Page 6. Mack could face 20 years in prison, according to the report. Several others involved in the case, including co-founder Nancy Saltzman and her daughter Lauren Saltzman, have also pled guilty for their roles in the group. Mack could be entering into a cooperation agreement. I think we all agree this will be very, very good if she does. And we've already been told by our favorite Anon that she was singing like a bird. She allegedly helped Raniere run a secret ring within the self-help group called DOS, which reportedly engaged in beyond-the-pale activities like forcing women into highly restrictive diets and even branding them with Raniere's initials. Also, Allison Mack's initials were in there. Raniere is facing charges as well, reported by Page 6. High-profile figures have been connected to the group. Seagram's liquor heiress, Claire Bronfman, faces charges for her alleged involvement. Bronfman fainted while in court March 27th after a judge asked her about reports that lawyer Michael Avenatti was representing her after his recent arrest on extortion charges, reported CBS. In addition, 2020 presidential candidate and Democratic New York Senator Kristen Gillibrand's father worked on behalf of the cult more than a decade ago. Jury selection in this case is expected to start as early as Monday, reported CBS New York. Well, like I said earlier, our favorite Anon told us that they were singing like a bird, and if all of these people are pleading guilty, that means they are all flipping on Keith Raniere. I don't believe that they would plead guilty to these things unless they were going to be getting something out of it. And it sounds to me like Keith Raniere is the real mastermind of this entire sick display. Now, we've got a lot of people that are involved with this group, and I've talked before about Ben Shemkis, his testimony that he went to a mixer in Connecticut, I believe it was, back in 2001 or something like that. And there was a lot of high-profile people there, including at that time Governor Elliot Spitzer and his prostitute mistress. I believe that Roger Stone and Jerome Corsi were also there, not to mention Huma Abedin, former senator and AG of New York, Eric Schneiderman, also Anthony Weiner, Michael Avenatti. The list goes on and on. All these people. Oh, and lest I forget, Stormy Daniels. Stormy Daniels was also there. So hopefully this weekend I'm going to have Ben on and we're going to hear some more about this from him directly. But in the meantime, that really is all I have for you today. I want to thank everyone for joining me. As always, this has been Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this was your Red Pill News. Good luck, everyone, and God bless.